Hey patrons, it's me, Tyler, writer and illustrator of The Costume Shop, The Only Gay Human Space, Kid Quicksand, Funhouse of Horror. You already know that because you're supporting me on Patreon. Anyways, a long time ago I asked you guys to send me questions, sort of an Ask Me Anything, so let's just jump right in, shall we? Aaron Scales says, what inspired you to start drawing? Well, I was originally into acting, and in my last sort of couple years of high school, I'm like, I don't want to go to school to learn how to act. And I kind of liked drawing, like I discovered the internet and Vor and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, I want to make some of this. So I started like reading how to draw books. So maybe that's what inspired me to start drawing, was I wanted to create that kind of stuff that I was seeing on the internet. And so then I went to college for it because I liked drawing and liked doing graphic designs. How do you feel about drawing fetishes, including those you aren't into yourself? I fucking love drawing fetishes. It's that kind of stuff where no one else is doing it, or no one else is doing like specifically what you're doing, and it's fun to do sort of this crazy, absurd stuff. How do I feel about drawing stuff I'm not into? I normally don't draw it. Like, some people have requested some stuff for me and I'll be like, sorry, I'm not comfortable or I don't understand it. But then they also like don't follow through on the invoice I send them, so I mean, I don't draw it anyways then. Would you rather draw one horse-sized Umbra or 100 Umbra-sized horses? I feel like Umbra is already like the size of a horse, and sometimes I've drawn him. Wait, no, it's draw one horse. I'm not good at drawing horses. I can't imagine drawing 100 of the same Umbra if they're all horse size. What the fuck is this question? I'll draw one horse-sized Umbra because that's faster and easier. What does that say about me? Junglefooter asks, would you rather meet IRL people knowing you only from your fetish art, or would it be too awkward? It's not too awkward. I would be fine with it. I'm super open when it comes to the fetish that I draw. When I did TCAF, someone was like, is this Vor, who just didn't know anything about my stuff? They just know what Vor was, and they're like, is this Vor? I'm like, it sure is. Like, I don't care, I'll talk about it. I'll talk about it with my family too. But I would feel perfectly fine. If you want to come up and talk to me about it in real life, fucking let's do it. I'll do it all the time, I don't care. Chaos King asks, what is your deepest fantasy? To live and work at an actual The Costume Shop. I want to retire and grow old trying to get people into costumes that try and eat them. Wow, that's like super creepy. Okay, maybe I want to do that. Maybe I want to work at a haunted Halloween store, or work at or create like a haunted maze. Not all the weird Vor stuff, especially if I'm older. That's just weird. Aaron says, what characters would you most like to cosplay if you could? The Devastator. The Devastator has 4 legs, 4 arms, a mouth on its tail, a mouth on its belly, and an actual maw, and it's eyeless, and it has horns, and that's fucking cool. I actually asked the person who's making my fursuit right now, I asked Twilight Knight's cosplay, I'm like, can you make this? And they're like, no! Like, it was far too much. It would have been so expensive, and it actually probably would have needed 2 people to operate it. But I would love to cosplay that. I'd also love to cosplay Umbra if I had that muscle tone, although I could make like a suit, but that would be weird. But yeah, I'd love to cosplay Umbra. He's a hottie. Pink Gay asks, how big is that wang? Wolf Dragonblood says, what made you get into fantasy stories? I didn't read a whole lot of fantasy. I read like cheesy fantasy when I was younger, like Deltora Quest or Harry Potter. Harry Potter was like the big thing because it was sort of this like large universe and it had so much detail in it. Mostly like it wasn't a lot of fantasy. Like I did like horror stuff, like Goosebumps growing up was my #1 thing. Like all those books right there. What else? What else do I have here? I didn't read How to Train Your Dragon until later. I mean, I don't know, I didn't have a lot of fantasy. I wasn't into fantasy that much. And if I did, it was like really cheesy, and there was nothing held my attention long enough except for Harry Potter. Aaron Scales says, why Halloween costumes? Some of the first stuff I looked at when I was online for the first time, and I was sort of looking through DeviantArt and stuff like that, the first thing I saw was transformation stories, which was like goo creatures like sort of like absorbing people and then they become that creature, or like their body like turns into that creature or something. So it's people like transforming into monsters or getting enveloped by goo monsters. And so the whole idea of like living costumes was interesting because no one could die from it, like it wasn't fatal, like it was all just weird absorption or soft gore kind of stuff. And so I really liked that idea of like a costume instead of like an actual monster possibly digesting people. What is your, Chaos King says, what is your biggest concerns when drawing for your audience? Just that like one day I'm gonna do something so fucking weird and you guys aren't gonna like it. Like, I thought that way when we got to like the Clown Chaos comic in Funhouse of Horror, but then everyone's like, fuck yes to it. Or people, like I started posting on Discord, like the links to it afterwards, people were like, I don't know what this is, but I love it. And then I made new friends from it. So I was like worried that I'm always gonna like draw something completely absurd, or it's gonna get more absurd and you guys are gonna be like, okay, like this isn't what I'm into. But apparently everyone likes it, so I don't have to worry apparently. If you had the tech for it, or a special effects crew, would you do any Vor-themed videos? Yes, I absolutely would. I would not do it with this face. Like, if I was in a costume, maybe I would do it and post it, but like, I would not share it anywhere. I wouldn't be the person to do it. Like, there's a point where doing the comics is fine because it's sort of self-contained in this book, but then bringing it into real life like that, it becomes pornography basically, and that's the main thing I'm sort of hung up about. That is kind of weird, and it is super weird. I mean, sometimes I watch those kinds of videos, but I'm like, I would do this kind of shit, but it would have to be completely anonymous, because that's something I really don't want like my family finding out about that I do. I mean, like, I guess people who do porn do that. Like, you have a family and they probably know you're in porn. How does that work, actually? You know what? No, I'm going way too much into it. Anyways, that's it for you patrons right now and all your questions. Thank you so much. Maybe I'm going to do like an AMA, like once a month or something, like let people from online come in as well, but then you guys get like precedence or something. I don't know, I'd figure that kind of stuff out. Or maybe I'd link it to Discord. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. As you know, I'm constantly working on a ton of crazy stuff, so just be sure to log into Patreon and take a look. Like some stuff. Please drop comments. Please drop comments. I really crave feedback, especially when I am posting stuff that you guys I've like never heard of before, or something completely absurd. So I really do like hearing feedback, even if you say I like this or I don't like this, or do more of this. Like, that really lets me know what you like. So thank you guys for being patrons, and sign off phrase here. Let's go eat people. No, that's